we're going to go straight into the debate, which is principally about the narrative of design and how is that driven. Is it from the product within the space, or is it from the space or the design of the space itself? As we go through that, we're going to dissipate and chat about lots of different things. I'd like to warm up the evening by asking Terence to initially talk about his background, just briefly to give us a landscape, and Stefan to equally give us background of where he's coming from and a kind of ethos of where his design drive is from. So, Terence.
Coming from Paris, traveling in different countries in Europe, working for different brands as Promemoria, an Italian brand, building collections, doing some flagship stores, private apartments. So I have a part of interior design also, but mostly focusing on product. Then I moved to Belgium. When I was art director for GNL, which is Belgium furnishing company that already owned this manufacturer. That was very, very important to design. And then back to Paris to build my studio back home and working with different brands as Vispring now, with Philippe Purel and others.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you.
Stefan.
Okay, well, Sweden originally. And I actually came here for a completely different reason than design. I worked in film and TV for a while. So part of, I think, my idea of a narrative in design actually comes from a narrative in filmmaking. And it's kind of how I make sense of it. But I had my design company now for 10 years. And for me, the ethos or the idea behind design, or the inspiration, I guess, for design is always the client. So that's possibly different slightly for the two of us, but for me the I call it the red thread, the kind of the DNA of the design comes from the client, who they are, personality, and the life that they are trying to live or want to live.
Wonderful. And from your perspective, where do you draw your creativity from, Terence, when you're trying to you're set a task, a design process starts, let's say for instance a product to do with glassware. Where do you start?
I think the creativity is coming from really different ways. There is no special way. I think it can be a material, it can be an idea, it can be, as you say, a client, a brand, an history coming from a language that they already have. This is very, very important. And of course, the capacity that they have, the manufacturer, the material that they use. I think this is mostly where it comes from. But it can be fabric, it can be color, it can be lots of different things. So because your client isn't as specific as Stefan's client, it's not an individual as such. It's it's a market. Absolutely. I think depending on the product that you are designing, you are focusing, but also trying to do something for a larger debate, or for more people than an individual, and this is a little bit less bespoke, let's say, as what you are doing. So
I think that's fundamentally the difference, is that as an interior designer you're trying to solve a problem or you're trying to find an answer to an immediate problem. It's a design problem for your unique client. And you're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time, for sure, but you're trying to make sure that it works for that person. And I think products can grow out of that, and you can discover something that might have a wider audience. But equally, interior designers get huge amounts of inspiration from products. It can be inspirational products that gives you ideas of how to design for a particular client. But fundamentally, the difference is that our audience is very small to begin with, and his audience is far bigger.
Yeah.
And
But-
needs to be.
But on the contrary, the designing products can also come from interior designer, because working for different brands, you can imagine that you have a lot of special requests, and those special requests become also true because there was an interior design idea at the beginning, and then you introduce this design or this piece in the collection. So there is a real exchange between two of us.
And is it, as I understand it, that the same things that are really key to an interior project, the same as with a design or product design project, is that of course it has to be fit for purpose. It has to be ergonomically handleable, or you have to be able to walk through it without banging your head. Those types of things are a given, but it has to be that the search, clearly in my view, should be towards what we believe is beauty, to give beauty or to a thing or a space.
Well, there is also a lot of subjectivity in what we are doing. I mean, well, the beauty or the nice piece, the nice glass, the nice table is obviously not the same for everybody. I mean, in the Middle East or in Asia, it's totally different from the US or in Europe. So the thing is to adapt, and I don't really think there is a universal design or a universal beauty. So just trying to answer already to the request, and then to bring something more to the 100 or to the 1,000 share that has already been designed. It's already something.
I think taking it back to the end user, for me, the client that I design for, you're wanting to surprise them. You're wanting to introduce them to something. So I think even though you draw the inspiration from their personality and for their specific need, you're also hoping that you will show them something new and show them something beautiful. So I think it's. I mean, it sounds obvious, but they're obviously, that's why they're employing you. But I think a good interior designer can take a brief from a client, design something functional, something beautiful, and not necessarily something you would have in your own home, but perfect for that client.
And just I will add that a product is no more a product, is no more functionality, is no more only a table or a chair or a bed. It's more than that. In some, let's say for example, for luxury brands, the story is half of the product, and the story around it, what it gives you as a lifestyle feeling, is as important as the product itself, even if the function is the principle.
Yeah, I mean, very much like motoring. You motor in a traffic jam in a cheap or economic car as well as you can in a luxury car, but when you get there, you feel totally different on each individual journey. Interesting to pick up on you mentioned the bed or beds, and that's certainly one of the reasons that this evening. And one of the key elements within a home is the master bedroom. I think possibly that's sexist, I don't know, but it's still the master bedroom, and it is probably the most important space within the home. And the bed is probably certainly the most important piece of furniture within that space. Perhaps we need to just kick around the idea of what reacts to which, and the positioning in terms of style, in terms of size, and how either of you might approach that, particularly in this instance.
Well, yes, arguably the master bedroom is the most important room. Again, it is such a private space. I mean, it's one of the spaces you wouldn't expect to invite many guests. Well, depends on who you are, I guess. But I just think that it is so personal, and the room is the most private in your house, the bed is probably the most private piece of furniture. And I don't mean in that way. I mean simply that it is for you. It's meant, the bed, the mattress needs to suit you and not anyone else. It doesn't have to suit anyone else. So it's I think again, the client, and for me, it's specifically the end user it needs to be perfect for them, and that's I think for the tricky thing with designing a bed that is meant to be universally appealing is that, is there a range of beds that you can have? Can it be customized? Can it be changed in a way that will make it more appealing? But that's where you come in.
Well, before working with Vispring, I learned a lot about beds, and I think everybody should know, if they don't know, that we are spending 24 years in our bed. So this is a quarter of our life, let's say. So this is a very important and huge piece in a space already. But between those 24 years that we are all spending in Asia, in America, or everywhere, we are all sleeping in a different way. In Asia, nobody is used really to sleep on a 70 high centimeters bed. So how do we make them understand the softness is the same thing? They are sleeping on really firm mattresses when we're not. So just to come back to the subject and in the room, this is a very, very big masterpiece. So it has to be, or sometimes it has to be discreet. Somebody wants a sculpture, somebody wants a very, very nice and big headboard, and there are a lot of different ways to approach the bedding, I think.
And one of the things that, certainly in my experience specifying beds for clients, it becomes more difficult in a contemporary style to specify a high quality mattress and box spring, because the style that you're trying to develop within that kind of contemporary space is very much lower and very much wider, and all horizontal or parallel horizontal lines, with a kind of maximizing that feel, where a more traditional high quality mattress and bed is really quite difficult to get into that. I mean, as the designer of that kind of thing, it's how do you try and minimize that?
Well, it's a real difficulty, and the balance between minimalism, as you said, it's quite difficult for this range of product. But I think we don't have to. We have to see the bed as a functional furniture. We're not speaking only about aesthetic, and I don't want to be seen only as a functional designer, but some pieces in the house has to be considered as they are. It's like in the kitchen. In the kitchen you need oven, you need some different things. In the bedroom, to have comfort, to have different layers of spring, to have different materials, it means that you cannot go lower than that, you cannot go differently than that, and so the design is a consequence of this feeling.
Right, thank you.
I agree that it's a problem. We do a lot of contemporary interiors, and it has always been a problem where you find out that the mattress is 35 or 40 centimeters tall, and on the very low Italian bed that you've specified, it's going to look terrible. So there's no answer to it. I think you need to. The mattress is the one piece that I will never tell my client that you have to have this. I will recommend, and I can say that they are good quality ones, but they will need to lie down on them and make up their own mind. And we will design the bed around that. It has to actually start with the high quality mattress, and then the bed comes from that.
I have actually we didn't do it, but we have actually gone through the mechanics of removing joists and dropping and lowering the bed within the floor level in order to get a very, very contemporary look. But
Successful?
quite extreme. Well, we didn't do it, but we went through the mechanics of it. It's quite extreme, especially if you want to move your bed. Great. I think we're coming to the end of the thing. What I'd like to do is ask you to wind up and say, well, what is it about design, specifically design within your parameters of design, and what you'd like to design, what you'd really like to design outside that, what you'd look forward to tomorrow to designing?
Well, not speaking only about beds.
No, not beds.
I think I will be close to Stefan on this. I think the design is a service for the human. If not, I think we are not designers, we are artists. So we had this discussion before. Furniture can be a sculpture, or furniture can be functional. So in our home, in our future, in the things that we are designing, we should give some answers to the requests of what we are, or of what people are in the different position, in the different area, in the different space in the world, and everything can be designed, but has to be designed in a certain way and for a certain purpose, with a goal, I think.
Fantastic.
I would say that I look forward continuing to be inspired by my clients. I'm lucky enough to have had some fantastic clients through the years, and without those people, without those clients, without those characters, we wouldn't have any work, and I just look forward to getting more and more interesting work. So,
fantastic. Well, thank you all very much indeed for your interest, and thank you very much.